Have you ever wondered why some people seem to get richer and richer, while others are always struggling just to get by? Is it just luck, or is there a secret they know that you don't? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you the real difference between the rich and the poor when it comes to managing money. This isn't about shaming anyone. It's about empowering you with the knowledge to change your financial future. Let me introduce you to two friends, Fine and Dan. They both started with similar jobs and similar salaries. On the surface, they looked pretty much the same, but their financial mindsets were worlds apart. Dan was a classic example of what many of us are taught. He had one job, his single source of income. When his paycheck came in, it went straight into his bank account. He paid his bills, maybe put a little into a savings account, and then the rest was for spending. A new phone, a fancy dinner, or weekend trip. If there was money in the account, it was fair game. Sounds familiar, right? This is the typical cash flow pattern for most people. Income in, expenses out. It's a straight line, and often a very thin one. Now, let's look at Fine. Fine understood that relying on one paycheck was like standing on one leg, and stable and risky. So early on, he started exploring ways to create multiple income streams. He wasn't a genius or a workaholic. He started small. He monetized a hobby he loved, turning his passion for graphic design into a side gig on freelancing websites. He invested a small portion of his savings into dividend-paying stocks, creating a tiny stream of passive income. He even rented out his spare room on weekends. Each stream was small at first, but together, they created a river of cash flowing into his life, not just a single pipe. This is the first major difference. The wealthy don't just earn money, they build systems that generate money from multiple sources. Now let's talk about what happens when they get a raise. When Dan got a promotion and a nice pay bump, what did he do? He upgraded his life. He moved into a bigger apartment, bought a more expensive car, and started eating at fancier restaurants. His expenses rose right along with his income. This is a classic trap called lifestyle inflation. It feels good in the moment, but it keeps you stuck on the financial treadmill. You're running faster, but you're not actually getting anywhere. You're still living paycheck to paycheck, just a more expensive paycheck. Fine also got a raise. But instead of immediately upgrading his lifestyle, he saw it as an opportunity. He followed a simple rule. He paid himself first. A significant portion of that extra income went straight into his investments and business ideas before he even thought about spending it. He didn't deprive himself, but he made a conscious choice. He knew that the short-term thrill of a new gadget couldn't compare to the long-term security and freedom that his investments would buy him. He wasn't just thinking about today, he was building a foundation for his future self. This is the core of long-term wealth strategy, prioritizing future wealth over immediate gratification. This brings us to the power of setting clear financial goals. Dan's financial goal was vague: be rich someday. It's a nice dream, but it's not a plan. It's like wanting to drive to a new city without a map or a destination in mind. You'll just end up driving in circles. Fine, on the other hand, had specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. He didn't just want to be rich. He wanted to achieve financial independence by age 40. He broke that down into smaller milestones: save his first $100,000 by 30, generate $1,000 a month in passive income within 5 years, and fully pay off his student loans in 3. These weren't just dreams, they were targets. Each target had a plan, and every financial decision he made was measured against whether it moved him closer to or further from his goals. That's the difference between wishing and planning. Of course, life is unpredictable. What about risks? Dan's approach to risk was to avoid it. He kept all his extra money in a low-interest savings account. It felt safe, but in reality, inflation was silently eating away at his purchasing power every single day. He was losing money without even realizing it. His biggest risk was the risk of doing nothing. Fine understood that risk is part of the game. But he didn't gamble blindly. He managed his risk. He diversified his investments across different asset classes, stocks, real estate, his side business. He built an emergency fund that could cover 6 months of his living expenses, so a sudden job loss or medical bill would force him to sell his investments at a bad time. He insured himself against catastrophic events. He wasn't avoiding risk, he was controlling it. The wealthy understand that calculated risks are necessary for growth, and they build safety nets to protect themselves from the unexpected. So, how did they maintain this over the long run? It all comes down to financial discipline. Dan lived on willpower. He tried to save more one month, but then an impulse buy would derail his plans. His financial life was a roller coaster of good intentions and broken resolutions. Fine relied on systems, not willpower. Willpower is a finite resource, but a good system works even on days when you are feeling tired or unmotivated. He automated everything. A portion of his paycheck was automatically transferred to his investment account the day he got paid. His bills were on auto-pay. He used budgeting apps to track his spending without having to manually log every single purchase. He built a personal financial system that made the right choices the easy choices. He designed his environment for success. He wasn't more disciplined than Dan, he just had a better system. Let's fast forward 10 years. Where are they now? Dan is still working the same type of job, earning a good salary, but he's still feeling the pressure. He has a nicer car and a bigger apartment, but he also has more debt and the same old anxiety about money. He's trapped in the cycle of earning and spending, a high-earning, but not so rich individual. And Fine is well on his way to his goal of financial independence. His multiple income streams have grown significantly. His investments have compounded, creating wealth while he sleeps. He has options. He can choose to work less, travel more, or start a new venture he's passionate about. He didn't get lucky. He made a series of smart, intentional choices, day after day, year after year. He built a system for wealth. The stories of Fine and Dan show us that financial success isn't about how much you earn. It's about how you manage what you earn. It's about shifting your mindset from being a consumer to being an owner and an investor. So, how can you start building your own system for wealth, just like Fine? It starts today. First, track your cash flow. Understand exactly where your money is coming from and where it's going. Second, start brainstorming one small, additional income stream. It could be anything. Third, define one specific, short-term financial goal. Maybe it's building a $1,000 emergency fund in the next 3 months. And finally, automate it. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking to your savings account right now. The journey to financial freedom is a marathon, not a sprint. It's built on small, consistent habits. The gap between the rich and the poor isn't a chasm, It's a series of small steps taken in different directions. You have the power to choose your direction. Start today. Thanks so much for watching. If this video sparked something in you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content to help you build your best financial life. Let me know in the comments what your first step is going to be. See you in the next one.